Get out now! The new waitress shouts at the CEO just moments before disaster strikes. Her voice trembled, but it cut through the noise like thunder. Sir, you need to get out. Now! The diners froze, eyes wide, as the new waitress stood there, fear and fire mixed in her eyes. Just moments ago, she was invisible, another face behind the counter. But in the next few seconds, everything she believed about right and wrong would be tested in front of everyone. Before we begin, hit subscribe. It's appreciated. It was her third week at the diner, and already, Mia had learned that some people saw her uniform before they saw her face. The coffee pot was her shield, the counter her safe zone. Every morning she wiped the same silver stools, smiled at the same faces, and told herself that kindness still mattered, even when the world didn't always return it. The diner sat on a quiet corner of town, its red neon sign flickering against the morning mist. To the regulars, it was comfort. To Mia, it was survival, a place where she could work hard, stay unnoticed, and maybe one day start over. She had moved here after losing her last job at a cafe where customers treated her accent like a joke. But here, she hoped things would be different. Among the clinking dishes and soft hum of old songs, there was a rhythm she found peace in. The cook, Mr. Harris, would nod each morning without saying much. The owner, Mrs. Green, was strict but fair. And the customers, well, they came and went. Some kind, some distant, some who wouldn't even meet her eyes. That morning, the diner was busier than usual. A group of men in suits filled the corner booth, loud, confident, used to being listened to. One of them, she later learned, was the CEO of a big company in town. He had the kind of smile that looked rehearsed. He didn't look at Mia once when she took his order. He just waved his hand like she was part of the background. But Mia didn't mind, or at least she told herself she didn't. She'd learned to let small slights roll off her like rain. Still, something in her chest tightened when she heard one of them laugh about people who didn't belong here. She kept pouring coffee, pretending she hadn't heard. But deep down, she did. Outside, the sky was turning gray, heavy with clouds. Inside, the air grew tense without reason, like the diner itself knew something was about to happen. Mia didn't know it yet, but before that day ended, she'd have to make a choice, one that would test her courage and change the way everyone saw her forever. The morning rush faded, leaving behind the quiet hum of the diner, plates clinking, soft music from the radio, and the low chatter of a few customers. Mia moved through it all like she always did, calm on the outside, careful on the inside. But today felt different. There was a heaviness in the air she couldn't name, like a warning before a storm. The men in the corner booth had been talking for almost an hour now. Their laughter was loud, sharp, the kind that didn't care who it made uncomfortable. Mia didn't want to listen, but their words carried. One of them joked about how some people just don't fit in towns like this anymore. The others laughed. Even the CEO smiled. Mia felt her hands tighten around the coffee pot. She told herself to keep walking, to stay professional. That's what her mother had taught her. Don't let their words change your worth. But it wasn't easy. Every small comment carried a sting she had learned to hide. It wasn't the first time people had looked through her, treated her like she didn't belong, because of her skin, her accent, or just the way she looked. Each time it happened, she buried the pain deeper, trying to stay invisible. A few minutes later, the diner's bell rang as a group of workers came in. Tired faces, dusty boots, smiles that looked grateful for a hot meal. Mia greeted them with warmth. They smiled back. But one of the suited men rolled his eyes and muttered something under his breath, something that made the workers glance down, silent. Mia felt her heart drop. As she walked back to the counter, she noticed the CEO's briefcase resting under the booth. It was slightly open, paper sticking out, and then a faint smell, something burning. She looked toward the kitchen, but the stoves were fine. That's when she noticed it. A spark near the floor, close to the old electric socket by the booth. The briefcase was right beside it. Her pulse quickened. The men were still laughing, unaware. Mr. Harris was busy at the grill and Mrs. Green was on a phone call in the back. The smell grew stronger, that sharp, dangerous scent of melting plastic. Mia froze for a second. She thought of all the times she had been told not to interfere, not to cause trouble. People like her weren't listened to. But if she stayed quiet now, someone could get hurt. Maybe everyone. She took a slow breath, her heart pounding. Then she stepped forward, trying to stay calm. "Excuse me," she said softly at first, but they didn't hear. Louder now. "Sir." "Your bag." The CEO waved her off without looking. "Not now, we're talking," he said, dismissive. The laughter continued. Mia's eyes darted to the spark again. Brighter now. Panic rose in her chest. She looked around. No one else noticed the danger. Fear and frustration surged inside her until she finally shouted, "Sir, you need to get out." "Now!" The diner froze. The CEO turned, confused, then saw smoke rising from under the booth. In seconds, panic erupted. Sparks caught the edge of his briefcase, flames licking upward. Mia grabbed the fire extinguisher, hands trembling but steady. As the men stumbled back, she sprayed the smoke away, her courage cutting through the chaos. When the fire was finally out, silence settled again. Only the faint hum of the diner lights remained. The CEO stood there, his expensive suit now dusted with gray. He looked at Mia, really looked at her, for the first time. She could see confusion, embarrassment, maybe even guilt flicker in his eyes. Mrs. Green came running from the back, out of breath. "What happened?" she asked. Before Mia could speak, one of the suited men blurted, "She yelled at us! Out of nowhere!" His tone was defensive, almost angry, as if being corrected by someone like her was worse than the fire itself. Mia's throat tightened. She wanted to explain, to tell them what she saw, what she smelled, that she wasn't trying to make trouble. But before she could speak, the CEO raised his hand, stopping the man. His eyes didn't leave Mia's. "She saved us," he said quietly. She saw it before anyone else. The diner went still again. For the first time, no one looked at her like she was just a waitress. They looked at her like she mattered, but the weight of the moment wasn't joy. It was something deeper, harder to name. She wasn't proud. She was tired. Tired of needing something drastic to be believed. Tired of having to prove her worth to be seen. The CEO tried to thank her, but Mia just nodded. "You should probably get that socket checked," she said, then quietly cleaned the mess. When firefighters confirmed she'd prevented a fire, he felt the sting of shame, realizing how often he'd overlooked people like her. As he left, he paused at the door. "Thank you for seeing what I didn't," Mia smiled softly. "Sometimes you have to." That night, alone in the diner, she stared at the scorched socket, thinking how close they'd come to disaster, and how close she'd come to silence. For once, someone had truly seen her, not as a waitress, but as a person who mattered. But the truth stayed heavy in her chest. It shouldn't take a fire for people to listen. It shouldn't take danger for someone's worth to be seen. The next morning, the CEO returned. This time, he came alone. He looked nervous, out of place without his usual group. He waited at the counter until Mia turned around. "I wanted to say thank you," he said softly. "And I wanted to apologize. I should have listened." Mia nodded, her smile gentle but distant. "It's okay," she said. "You listened when it mattered." He placed a business card on the counter, sliding it toward her. "If you ever need another job, call me. People like you, people who notice things, we could use that." She looked at the card, then at him, her eyes calm. "Maybe," she said quietly. "You should start by noticing the people you already have." The CEO froze for a second, then slowly nodded. It was the kind of truth that didn't need repeating. As he left, the morning light poured through the diner windows, washing the floor in gold. The place looked almost new, like the fire had burned away more than smoke. It had stripped things down to what was real: courage, kindness, and the cost of being seen. Mia went back to work, pouring coffee for a new group of customers. A few smiled at her differently now. Not out of pity, out of respect. She didn't need praise or attention. All she wanted was simple, to be treated as equal, as human. And maybe that's what true change looks like. Not loud speeches or grand gestures, just small moments of awareness, one heart at a time. He left that diner changed, carrying the weight of her words and the quiet power of her courage. And Mia? She carried hope. Hope that next time, someone would listen before the fire ever started. What part of this story stayed with you the most? Tell us in the comments. Show some love with a like and subscribe to stay inspired.